Welcome to Vulture Tech, boys and girls. What do we have today? We got the EVGA GTX GeForce GTX 1060, 6 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory, SSC. It is the year 2020. It's the 17th day of the month of July. Vulture Tech. What can you do with this? You need to upgrade it? Do you need to keep it and love it? What can it do? What can it not do? What's it good at? Oh, I got some tests for you.
Look at the fire on that dragon. All right, benchmark stuff. We got Heaven running, DirectX 11, Quality Ultra, Tessellation Extreme, disabled, anti-aliasing ×8, full screen. I'm doing resolution in a 1920 by 1080. That's the requirements. That's where we start. Benchmark results are in. You want to watch the video, you do that on your own time. I'm surely not going to waste your time with that. And the results are in a 15.53 score, 61.7 frames per second. Okay. Record button is flashing. Good to go. All right, now we've seen the benchmark tests, and we scored a 1553. What does that mean? Let's throw that into perspective. Let's test other benchmarks. Now that we have the test, the benchmark is done. The synthetic benchmark. Does this do anything in the real world? How does it compare to other things? We need to have something to compare it to so we can gain some perspective. Our score is a 1553. All right, let's check the scoreboard, the user board, the leaderboard. Here we go. The number one score I could find was an i7 8700K at 5.3 gigahertz. It's a big overclock. Rocking the RTX 2080 Ti, and they score a 5,177. We scored a 1553. Much better graphics card, I would expect no less. Let's go down the list. Down to number 7. Gentleman or lady, who cares, who knows? They were rocking an R7, Ryzen 7 2700X, just as we were. They substituted out that 1060 for an RTX 2080 Ti and scored a 4,273. Compared to our 1,553. So pretty apples for apples there, using the same CPU. They just switched out their graphics card, which we're testing today, and they achieved a 4,000. And we scored a 1,500. Better graphics card, a lot more expensive graphics card, scored a higher test. All right, good. We got that out of the way. We know RTX 2080 Ti is an absolute monster, and it can kill a 1060 in anything you ever want to do. Anything, okay? I go down this list. Let's go down the list a little bit. This is where my grundle gets a little squandled. I see an i5 4770K overclocked to a 4.5 gigahertz. If I read this thing right off of their site, Google Heaven Benchmark. Heaven Benchmark is a GPU, it's even bold, intensive benchmark that hammers graphics cards to the limits. The benchmark immerses a user into a magical steampunk world of shiny brass, wood, and gears. Heaven Benchmark is in bold, is a GPU intensive benchmark. GPU intensive, does that mean the CPU doesn't do anything? The CPU has to play a little thing, or that's going to... But this should just be a GPU, bam, 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 bam. Doesn't matter. This, stick it aside, and let's just compare apples to apples. Your GPU to my GPU. I climbed down this list, and you can hear it in my voice. I'm a little irritated because I don't understand this synthetic nonsense, this benchmark that people are using. Let's compare benchmarks. All right, look, guy. Here's an i5 4770K rocking a 4.5 overclock using a GTX 780 Ti, a 780 Ti. And they score a 1967. That's over 400 points better than my card. Nobody on this planet is going to take a GTX 780 Ti over a 1066 gig any day of any week, even on Thor's Day. Look, you go over to userbenchmark.com. Beautiful site, very valuable, okay? You plop in that GTX 780 Ti versus the GTX 1066 gig, and you will see in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gaming real-world tests. This is what it's all about, real world. I'm starting with a benchmark because it's a number that we can all compare to. You got our number. I was thinking your number and my number, we could compare them because they were apples for apples. Now, if you're telling me I got to overclock my CPU to get a bigger number, how many megs of RAM are you using? This is all in a factor? Wasn't what I was thinking, okay? So now we look at the games frames per second out of 9 tests listed with 9 different games being CSGO, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto, League of Legends, Overwatch, Battlefield, The Witcher, Dota 2, and World of Warcraft. One game scored a higher frames per second using that GTX 780 Ti than my 1066 gig. 1 out of 9 games in real world scored better frames per second. So that means my card, which scored 400 lower points in your benchmark, Fortnite, GTA, League of Legends, Overwatch, Battlefield, The Witcher 3, Dota 2, and World of Warcraft, all using my card, I can achieve better frames per second. So benchmark test, you can take that, do what you will with it. I don't really care. I think it's out the door, because if these things are anything, and I don't think they'd post them if they weren't, my card gets you better frames per second in the real world. Your synthetic nonsense, I'll keep pushing it, and I'll keep doing it because some people do like these benchmarks. And it, I thought, was a number we could all compare. But not if your GTX 780 Ti can score 400 plus more points than my 1066 gig. Off to the races. Get out of here. Let's go see some other tests. Let's go see some other numbers. Let's see some actual in-game EPS. Frames per second. And then we'll see, can this thing 4K edit? What else can we do? Are we going to keep listening to this synthetic bench? You could just turn in and look at that and be like, well, I'm going to go out and get a 780 Ti. I guess it's better in I guess it's better in this 1060. If you just looked at those two numbers, you smoked me by 400. If that's all you looked at was two stupid numbers using some synthetic crap, you'd go out and buy a 780 Ti. It's not my recommendation. You're going to be hard-pressed to find that recommendation, and you're going to see why that would be a terrible recommendation, because in-game, video editing, anything like that, I'm going to smoke you, and I'm going to smoke your 780 Ti. If you think otherwise, comment down below. Let's go to some other test results that actually count for something. All right, CSGO fired up. Main screen, as it loads, you can see the top left corner. Well, wait a second. Yes, all right, here we go. 119, 120, just sitting at the main screen with dude with his gun there looking all mean. It's just me futzing around main screen. Looks like we can consistently hold at 119. Okay, that's a start. We'll keep checking that left top corner and see what happens as we go in-game. This screen, yeah, okay, it's loading up. Good. Still fired up about that GTX 780 stuff. Now remember, maybe they did have a overclock on there. I didn't take that into consideration when I was fired up earlier. Look at that, 185. That's cool. So maybe, yeah, they were super overclocked. And hopefully maybe that the CPU doesn't have anything to do with anything. CPU should just be back there. Boom. You do this while we run this. There's 256. You see that peak out? Oh, down to 12. What the hell? All right, who are we going to pick? Terrorist or counter-terrorist? 155, 222, 152, right off the rip, running around, 126, 170. That looks like we're in steady. Ooh, we hit the 2s, the 1s, the 9s. You can read, as I can read, as you can see. Here we go. Yeah, running around at a buck 60. We hit the 2s. Oh, that guy got shot in the head. That was a nice shot. All right, now we fire up Gears 5 Ultimate Edition, running through the Xbox Game Pass. If you get that, you can also get games on your PC. So we're going to play the PC version of Gears 5 Ultimate. And we just fired up the benchmark that they actually have in-game. So we'll see what kind of FPS action we can hope to achieve right now. Here goes. GTX 1060 6 gig running Gears 5. I'm recording this with slobs in the background. And our current frame rate is holding 68. GPU bound 100%. I guess that means we're using our GPU, which is good because that's what my test is doing. So here we go. Enjoy the test. Gears 5. 67. 72. Current frame rate. This is pretty cool. After this, we'll actually fire up the game, and I'll see what kind of frame rate I get in-game. But right now, I'm running the same benchmark that you could run on your Gears 5 Ultimate Edition. And hopefully we'll get a result soon, and I don't know. See what happens. This is the entirety of the benchmark. If you want to skip ahead, it's right to the result. You know, feel free to do whatever you want. There's the result. There it is. Average frame rate 68.4 frames per second. Average GPU frame rate 69.3. Okay, cool. Average CPU frame rate, that's a lot higher. Huh. Average minimum frame rate 61.1. GPU bound 99, CPU bound. I guess that means that it uses the GPU and then fills in with the CPU when needed. Look, everything is on Windows resolution 1920, same as our other test. Ultra, ultra, ultra. When this is all pre-filled in. So there's our result. All right, in-game benchmark over. Now we have the actual video. This is me playing. Ooh, look at the light. This looks good. This is one damn good-looking game. Like I said, I didn't say. I'm thinking it. I've played this game actually on the Xbox One X. I believe it runs 4K at 60, from what the internet has told me. On a 4K TV, this is the best looking game that I've ever seen in person. I don't play PC games that often. I've played CSGO and Valorant. I don't play many games on the PC. So just the sweetest game that my eyes have ever laid eyes on was this game on the Xbox One X. But here we have it running on the GTX 1066 gig. She's holding her own. I'm curious to see what kind of frames per second we're going to get here. Maybe at some point I'll push the Windows G button and get an actual frame thing. I think I did. Maybe it just doesn't show up on the screen cap. Well, anyway, if it doesn't show up on the screen cap, this is still the game running. The game's playing fine. The game is 100% playable. Yeah, so that overlay must not be captured. So I did do this. I wasn't going to spoil it, but I'll spoil it now. I was getting 108 frames per second in game. So she was running great. 100 FPS. That's it. All right, our third and final game test with the GTX 1060 brings us to Destiny 2. Once again, the screen overlay did not capture. I do apologize for that. Oh, it's just a bunch of black screen here. This is a very intriguing video. Here it comes. All right, so the screen overlay didn't capture most of this game. Very surprised, and it seemed like it was trying to do it pretty damn consistently. This was sitting at 144 frames a second. Weird. Exactly what I needed because I have a 144 monitor. Everything looks pretty. Everything looks peachy. Yeah, so this game was pretty dead on 144 frames. It occasionally dropped down to 118, 120. And I wasn't clicking the overlay button every 5 seconds, but the times I hit it, it was either 144 or it was 120. This game looks great, you know, at the 144 on the screen. I didn't get any actual combat to like bog things down, but look at the water. The water's great. I'm about to jump over the cliff here. I don't know what to do. It says I can glide a little bit. So I think I'm going to go for a glide, and then they just tell me that I'm going to die. I don't know, I died. Results are in. 3 games have now been tested. What'd you think? Is this your expectation? Is this what you had in mind? Did you think it was going to do better? Did you think it was going to do worse? So we played 3 games. We played CSGO. We played Gears of War 5, or just Gears 5, the Ultimate Edition. And we played Destiny 2. Gears of War, CSGO, at the main screen, played 120 frames a second. In-game, we played it around $180, topped into the 2s, dropped down to the 120s. Most of the time, from my viewing, I would say we were playing easily at 160, 180. CSGO, 180 frames at 1080p. That's a damn good result. We switch over to Gears 5 through the Xbox Game Pass. Ran the benchmark. We almost hit 70 frames a second on their benchmark. Okay. Wasn't able to futz around with any of the settings. Then in-game, I hit that overlay, but it didn't capture it. In-game, we were getting around 100 frames per second on the other side of 100. So we were definitely 100 plus frames per second. Gears 5, 1080p. Not bad at all. Third test, Destiny 2. I hit that overlay again, didn't record, but most of the time when I would hit it, it was sitting right at 144. Wouldn't hold steady at 144, but more times than not when I checked it, it was 144 frames a second. I saw it dip down on the 120s a couple times, but held steady at 144. And I wasn't doing any fighting, but We're still rendering the world, the cool water and stuff. So 3 games. Easy peasy for the GTX 1060 6 gig to maintain well at least 100 frames a second. In comparison, your PlayStation 5, your Xbox One X, usually those games are playing at 4K at 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second at full 1080. 60 frames a second. We're easily holding over 100 frames a second. GTX 1060 can hold its own against anything, the Xbox One X or the PlayStation Pro. Anything you're playing there, this GTX 1060 can do it just as well. If you have a 144 hertz monitor, we're around there. Gears was under, so you're not going to get that with the 1060 on the 144. Do you need to play at 144? It's a darn cool monitor. It's cool to hit 144 frames a second. Gears couldn't do it. Other games could. Now, so we got the comparison to the console. We've got 3 games in the bag. GTX 1066 gig. Dominated them fine. We're right there. We hit that 144. So if you need a little bit more, you're going to have to change the card if you need more than 144 all the time. Going to need something more if you want to play Gears at 144. You're going to need something better. Play CSGO, we were in the 200s at some time. Excellent. The other game, Destiny 2, we hit 144. That was our ceiling, 144. If you need that constantly, going to have to go to the next graphics card up. But for what we needed to do in our tests, we hit the beautiful, out of the ballpark. If baseball ever comes back, we just hit it out of the ballpark. 160. The 1060 gig is still very competent. July 19th, 2020. It can do what you need it to do in those games. Now, can it render 4K video? To the bag, to the video, to the go. Here we go. All right, here we go. Davinci Resolve 4K video editing. We'll throw in some special effects. Then we'll render this thing at 4K and see if the GTX 1060 can handle it. A little video of me. Let's pick it over here. This is me sitting down about to do something with the box. Yes. All right, so here. We'll cut it here. Boom. Get rid of this. Get rid of all this. We don't need this. Bring this back over. So, okay. So first of all, this is a 4K video clip and brought it in, imported it. We've done nothing so far. All right, so we're going to sit down and let's add, let's see, let's go back here. Let's import some files now. Downloads. Let's get an explosion. We'll start it off small. And I don't know how to do this, so this is the way I do it. If there's a better way to do it, cool. I don't know how the way is. This is the way I can show you that it works. All right, so we'll grab this. Oh, we'll sit down, grab this fireball, which is right here, and we want to move this fireball the position. So let's see if we move it -400. Where's that put it? Puts it over here. Good. Okay, so we want to put this fireball probably about -500. Perfect. Now we want to raise it up to about -500. Oh, went the wrong way. Let's just put +500. Let's put 250. Okay, so we're going to sit down. We're going to look at the computer, and the computer's going to blow up. This is just me putting in a special effect. We'll go back here. Let's import. This is all a good test. Let's make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. So bring this in, put this here. Okay, so what we're doing is we're playing with 4K video. That's the main clip. And now we're going to add a special effect. As I stated, it's the only way I know how to do it, because I just learned how to do this. And I just downloaded these special effects. So you don't like it? Leave a comment below. Tell me how to do this better. I would love to hear it. Okay, so we'll take this and we'll go like this. Boom. Okay, so all we have so far is a little boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's add another one. This is cool. GTX, I don't know what I just did. Oh no. GTX 1060 is allowing me to, do this, no problem. Let's go big here. All right, now, I don't know what I did here, so we have to, audio, video. I don't know what I did. Oh no, close. close, dissolve, video, media pool. Whew, there we go. All right, back over here. As you can see, futzing around. Everything's working just fine. Nice. Want to bring this up, and we want to bring this to negative. Let's do negative 425. Well, that's anchor point. As you can see, I'm not the best with this. Not the whole point, though. It's just whether this card can do it or not. Can it do what I want it to do in this program? And so far, I would say yes. Let's see. So we get it. All right, so if we just had the video, we sit down, we look at the computer, computer blows up. We should make this one a little bit bigger. We sit down, we look at the computer blows up. All right, cool. So we've added a special effect, no problem. We've got the video, we cut the video. Great. We'll add audio to this video in a second. Well, I'm recording the audio as we speak, so you'll see that in a second. Let's see, watch the rest of the video. I'm looking at something, I click on buttons. Let's add another special effect just for fun. File. Oh, my button's getting sticky. Whoop. File, import media. Let's go up one folder, and let's go to a fireball. Do we already have fireball? All right, let's do a two-part fireball coming out of the back of my head. Open. Okay, boom. Let's add a sweet fireball effect to the back of my head. Let's go up 500s. Good. Let's go 500s. Oh, now I gotta move it over. 700. Yes, it looks like my head's on fire. That looks awesome. Okay. And what do? We just let that burn for a minute? Let's see what that looks like. So let's see. Well, that would look ridiculous. So just for that frame is where it could be. Bring that down. Okay, so you see it. My head catches fire. Flames are coming off of my head. This is great. And then my head starts to turn. And when my head starts to turn, we need to add one more. Let's add one more. Let's get one of these. This looks cool. Bring this over here. Okay, this is like I said. I don't know what I'm doing. It's the way I do it. If you could leave a comment below, that'd be great. And that'll tell me how to do it next time. Let's move this over to 700. Let's move it over to 800. Good. Okay, my head catches fire, and then just fireball shoots off real quick. Right there is where we'll leave it. We'll cut that off there. Boom, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Delete this. Okay, GTX 1060. All right, so we've added the special effects. We've imported the video. Now we're just going to go over, can the GTX 1060, if we change this to 4K, and we title it Test Video 1060. And we just stick it where all other videos go, in the uncouth drive. Put it up to 30 frames a second. It's on Ultra HD. I want to change it to MP4. Add it to the render queue. Add it to the render queue. Hit start render. I have 2 video games downloading in the background. Look at this. 22, 27, 35, 43, 54, 60, 70, 77, 84, 90, 99. Done. Took 8 seconds to render that video. Thank you very much. All right, let's sit down. Normal day. Oh, crap. My computer exploded. What the hell's going on? Now, what? Oh, no, my hair's on fire. Results are in. You've seen the games. Now you've seen the Davinci rendering. A GTX 1060 6 gig. July 2020. Is it still a good graphics card? The answer for what I need it for is 100% yes. Do you meet the same requirements I do? I don't know. Do you need to game at more than 144 frames? Then you're going to have to look elsewhere. Can you hit 144 frames with the 1060? Yes, you can. Of course you can. We did a benchmark. We got smoked by a 780 Ti. That still ruffles my butt feathers. Maybe I need to do some overclocking, CPU, GPU overclocking if I needed to beat that number. Let's get out of here. 780 Ti. No one in the world is going to buy one of those over a 1060. Get out of here. Whoever scored that, just know you ruffled my butt feathers. but I still would rather have my card. Then we took it into 3 games to see some FPS, some real life actionable numbers. CSGO, main screen, we hit the 120. In game, we went over 200 multiple times. Easily able to game at 144 frames playing CSGO. Then we went over to Gears 5. Benchmark, we hit 70 average. In game, I was hitting a little over 100. So whatever your goal is there, if you got to hit that 144 because you got the cool monitor or higher, then you're going to have to go to a higher graphics card. If you want to play Gears 5 at 1080 and hit 100 frames, maybe dip a little here and there, I did, and it's played phenomenal. Destiny 2, I was hitting 144, dipped down in the 120s. If you needed, for some reason, to have a steady 144, you're going to have to look elsewhere to a different GPU. If you just have to get over 100 frames, because that sounds like a cool number, 1060 can easily do it. Done with the benchmark, done with the games, on to 4K rendering using Davinci Resolve. Not only did we put the video in, the 4K video, we added some goofy special effects, and we rendered our short little video in 8 seconds. The GTX 1066 gig is 100% capable of rendering 4K video in no problems at all. Side note, and what I didn't expect to learn from this whole thing, because this is a GPU test, but, and I do have a picture, it's going to be a little bit blurry because I didn't focus in properly. I'll show you that now. As you can see down in my overlay, when I was rendering the 4K video, the GPU, I never saw it jump above 50% usage. 1060 is smoking it. It's fine, 50%. The interesting fact, and that I didn't expect, my Ryzen 7 2700X, I believe it's an 8-core processor, when rendering 4K video was 100% maxed out during that process. So me personally, I think I have the wrong CPU. My GPU is fine, 50%. I never saw it go past 50%. Maybe if my CPU come down a little bit, whew. So in my case, those 3 games, if that's all I wanted to do, 1060 is fine. Of course, there's other games out there we could test. My CSGO, Gears 5, Destiny 2, I'm 100% fine playing these games right now, and I feel like it's kind of going to just be that way. It's a damn good card. I'm going to render 4K video. That's what I do. Doing it now, that's what I do. Damn good card. My problem is my CPU. My 8-core 2700X, 100% out. So in my case, I would not change out the GPU. I would look to upgrade my CPU. Maybe you'll find that result too. I don't know. This has been a Vulture Tech experience. Oh yeah, one last thing. Price recommendation. Would I recommend this card? On EVGA's website, this card is $249. I would in no way recommend this card at $249. I picked this card up used on the Facebook Marketplace for $100. I got the whole box. I got everything. It was well taken care of. At $100, I recommend. $250, zero, don't buy it. $100, be a vulture. Go out, see if you can beat that price point. Be a vulture, scavenge. It's all about it. GTX 1066 gig SSC GeForce EVGA. Great card, mid 2020. Keep going. Be a vulture. See you next time.